Okay, so basically to kind of talk about this, if you notice here, right? Find that tool doing that. On this, you see how it starts out with position, but then transform is really what you want. Every time I look at a new version of Photoshop, I'm like going, why aren't they giving me transform? I don't want just position. I want it all. I want transform, but they don't. So therefore, what you have to do is to come over here, simply, just say, it doesn't matter which one you do, just hit one of them, toggle off the resize. Now, it's not a big deal if you don't remember that, but I have learned that it's a little better. And then just delete what they've, so this is like clip art. They've just given you some can effect that obviously you don't want. And now you've got transform. And that's really what you want. Position is fine. So if you have a layer and you know you're only moving that in a position, you don't have to have transform. But let me show you what transform does, which is kind of cool. So I'm just going to show you some basics so that we can see this in real time. So I'm going to make this kind of short. I can make this bigger, again with the mountains. Let me get this all the way over here. Come on. It'll move faster at least. Bring it up. So you see, there's a lot of bit of window familiarity to get used to it on there. Okay, so now let's turn on our circle. Now you see, I don't see it, right? And the question is like, why don't I see it? It's because my marker is way over here. So that's why it's important to look at your layers and your marker to know. So let's do a scale. So here you bring it to the left. Now this is, now I'm getting into the nitty gritty of the software. The steps that I'm going to talk about right now are exactly the steps you would do in After Effects. And they're really important. And I'll explain why. So these layers here are tweens, basically. They are transitions, video transitions, as they like to say. So I'm making a keyframe. So by clicking it, you make a keyframe, and you see the diamond there. And again, we'll make a loop. So I'm going to advance it to the end. Now you see I don't have it here, so I'm going to sneak it back to there. And I'm going to make another keyframe. So I lock the beginning and the end, because in the middle, I want it to scale. And it does make the keyframe for you. So it is selected, so I can just go to Control-T and put the Alt key down again, so it comes from the center, and bring it way out, like that. Now, the software is saying, are you happy? And I'm like going, yes, I'm happy. So you can either double click or click up here to the check mark. Double click is the easiest thing to remember. And look, it made my keyframe for me. So when I scrub it back and I hit return on the space bar, it will give it back to me. Now again, this is very slow. And I'll render it out for you to show you that it goes really fast. In fact, I have an example that I'll pull to show you. So that is a scale and so forth. And so you can actually move these guys. So I could move this in here, and I could actually go like this and say, you know what? I want you to be small in the middle. I want to take this away. And I'm big, remember that, right? I even just switched it. And it's like, no, I want to be big, do something, and come back to being big. You can actually highlight the diamond here, come over here, let me move this over, come over here to this hamburger, and you could do a keyframes copy, and then you can move to advance it to like here, and come back to the hamburger, come back to keyframes, and paste. It just now it copied the first, and now it just pasted it at the end. So if you forget to do what I said, lock it in the first time, beginning and end, you don't have to worry about it because you can copy the first and you can paste it to be at the end. So now it has this. Small to big. So the next question would be well, gee, I really want to pause. I want to hold. So in special effects and time editing, a pause or a hold is the same frame repeated. So therefore, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to highlight that, back to the hamburger, back to the keyframes, back to copy, advance it to about here, back to the hamburger, back to the keyframes, and paste. And now I have a hold. And if I wanted it longer, it holds it longer. Now, you would think it's a little choppy, but when you render it, it is not. It is smooth as silk. So the thing to remember, because I want to show you how the glows happen. Let me see if I can quickly call up that video that I want to show you, because it shows you the speed. And since we just have a few more minutes, we will do this. And let me get to the folder. And I should, yeah, here it is. Okay, so I'm going to open this up for you. Okay, good. Now watch this. Oh, play. There you go. Now don't forget, Zoom does slow things down. So, you know, when I look at this, it doesn't look that slow, but when I'm in Zoom, it looks really slow. So, but the point to be made is it will look slow. So those are the special effects where you can put glows on things that I was going to show you, but I can show you next week when I can see your rough cut. So the point to be made is you saw that, right? Now look what it looks like when I render it. And there's that MPEG-4 format. Photoshop renders video to MPEG-4. Much faster, right? Play it again. A world of a difference, correct? Do you see the difference?
Yeah.
Much faster, right?
Yeah, it looks much faster.
Super much faster. So the thing to remember, and this is, I'll stop this now, but I'll say it here on here, is that when you work in time-based medium, when you have a day of editing, you always render out your day. Always, because you want to see what it looks like rendered. Because when you're in the software, it's always slower. Now, if you have a high-speed computer and you've got like the best, you know, a $10,000 computer, yeah, maybe it'll play it back in real time. That'd be great. But if you don't, I don't, I know that. So that's why you always render to see what it actually will look like. So when you're in, so the point to be made is that when you're editing, don't think it's too slow. It won't be. It will be, you know, it will be expectedly to be slow on that. So, so anyway, so let's wrap that up because we are almost done.